Hi, this is Kanu Jacobson with House of Nunu, and welcome to our video series, We Aim to Inspire. Today, I am very happy to be talking with Valerie, who has been a friend of mine for the past 1 year. And I thought we would just sit here and have a conversation, and she can share her story. And so Valerie, welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So maybe to start with, if you would like to share with the audience kind of what your life has been. I know there was a huge turn point in your life,
yes.
And I thought maybe you could share that.
Okay, absolutely. Well, 5 years ago, my life changed significantly. That change included separation from my husband of almost 20 years, and then which ultimately led to divorce. Mm-hmm. And along with that came foreclosure, bankruptcy, moving. Oh gosh, my whole world was just rocked, and it was a big transition. Mm-hmm. So with that, I got to find out what I was really made of. So
not an easy way to find out, but
no, it wasn't easy, but it also just, had so many gifts in it. And I guess that's the message that I really want to convey to your audience is that even in our darkest, most difficult times is when we, really can be the most courageous, and really some of the best things in our lives can happen. So even though, I kind of equate it to Noah's Ark and the flood and everything being washed away, what I was left with was the things that really mattered most to me, and that was my children and my health and, good friends and family, and I had a car that ran, and I had a roof over my head, and so I really had everything that I needed, even though there was so much that I lost. And so, and just coming up with some strategies to help me through that time. I look back and it was just, the strategies were just so simple. And my mantra that I had was, I can sink or I can swim, but I choose to swim.
I like that.
And I remember, I would literally say it out loud over and over and over sometimes. I remember when I was getting the papers ready for bankruptcy, and never in my life imagined that I would be in that situation. And I'm surrounded by all of these papers, feeling overwhelmed and sad and scared and crying. And I was just saying, I can sink or I can swim, and I choose to swim over and over and over.
That's very powerful.
And it's such a simple thing, and that really got me through so much. And, and so, again, for those listening, it's just those simple little things that we can do that really make a big difference and are just so powerful. And I'll always remember those words. And another thing was a quote that I probably am not going to say exactly right, but it's from Marilyn Ferguson, and it's on the other side of fear. On the other side of fear is always freedom, something like that.
Okay, that makes sense though.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I was so scared, but I was gaining such freedom, and I knew on the other side I would have this incredible freedom. And what bridged those two words for me, though, the fear and the freedom, was faith. And so without my faith, I don't know if I would really have reached that point of the kind of freedom that I have. So that was a big gift to me, was to realize that and to make that connection.
Yeah. I really like that quote that you just shared. I think you said on the other side of fear is freedom. When you think about it, it's kind of what life is about, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes we're so crippled with fear that it limits us to move forward, to really do whatever that is that you want to do for yourself, right?
Exactly.
So I'm really glad you got to share that, because I like that a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and fear can be so debilitating, and it can also be a motivator. And so, and for me, it was actually leading up to divorce and all of those transitions I was living in so much fear. And then my reality became more frightening than the fears that I had in my head. And so the fear became a catalyst for change for me. And so I'm just so thankful that, you know, to, I guess, have had that fear, because it actually caused me to move forward, or helped me to move forward.
Yeah. So if I can ask you to that point, you know, sometimes people with fear, they know they have fear, but they don't know how to move forward. Do you have a strategy that you use maybe to move from that fear to actually moving forward to a point where you got to that freedom, whatever that was for you?
Right. Well, the strategies that I use today with fear are a lot different than the strategies I used 5 years ago with fear, because I was in such a different relationship with fear at that time. So my relationship with fear has evolved. And so now, today, when I'm feeling fearful, I look at the fear and I think, you know, is it something that really is something I should be frightened of? Because, you know, fear is an emotion, and we have fear for a reason, and it signals something. So is it really something for me to fear? Or is that fear coming from a place of insecurity or the unknown? And so really evaluating, where's that fear coming from? And, you know, and I can't think of any fears that I've had over the last year, for example, that were, you know, fears, you know, things that were going to be life or death, or, you know, something, you know, so it really was about, you know, insecurity or just not knowing what to expect and that sort of thing. So what I do is, when I evaluate it and I come to that conclusion of what the fear is about, then I end up saying, okay, I need to just push through it. And, you know, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? So that's, you know, and again, and that's given me freedom. So it takes me back to that quote, because on the other side of every fear that I have is freedom.
I like that. I like that. So, you know, in remembering too what you and I talked about before, I know take action. Which I really like. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Right. So my license plate is Take Action, and that came about when I was going through all of my changes, and it was just served as a reminder to me to not be complacent, because I was living in that place of complacency because of my fear. And so I still, you know, 5 years later, looking at that license plate, it's a constant reminder of where I was, where I am, and where I want to be. So another really simple strategy.
Absolutely. I love it. I should have thought to have a nice license plate like that. But yeah, no, thanks for sharing. I mean, like you said, it's a simple strategy. But something that reminds you, and it probably grounds you. And absolutely. Then, you know, you have whatever that you're looking forward to for the future. So no, that's great. So as far as, like, you know, somebody that might be struggling, maybe they are in I'm not saying you need to tell them what to do as far as like relationships, but maybe somebody that's going through a divorce. What are maybe 2 or 3 things that you'd like to share with somebody that?
Well, one thing, and this is something that is really new that I'm starting to implement in my life. So I think it's always so fun to figure out new ways to overcome challenges. And so I'm reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So in there he talks about being present. And so in December, I really started focusing on being present. And so my big takeaway from that is that when challenges, when issues, when stressors come up in my life, is to not allow them to take hold of the present moment. So what that means to me is that, you know, when I'm out on a walk and that's my peaceful, serene time, and I'm in nature and I'm exercising, and it's a time where I want to be able to just listen to the birds sing, or, you know, look at the flowers and the beautiful sky. And so often, you know, my thoughts of the day, you know, what do I need to do? What am I falling behind on? You know, what papers do I have to write? Whatever. And so then those thoughts, those stressors or challenges or whatever, start occupying my mind, and I lose sight of that present moment. And so being able to regroup and you know, get control of my thoughts and make a conscious decision that I don't want to think about this now, right now, in this moment. I want to be aware of, you know, all of this beauty and peacefulness that's around me. So, you know, when somebody's going through a divorce or other challenges, that we have a choice about, you know, how are we going to let this impact our lives in this very moment. So there's a time to think about those things. So I've been trying to, when my thoughts start to consume me, to say, okay, this is not the time or the place to think about them. I'm going to do it at this time, and then make a decision as to when I want to think about those, because we end up losing so much of our life and really beautiful moments that we'll never get back because we're so preoccupied with those challenges.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, so and you're a life coach.
I am.
And as well a divorce mediator.
Yes.
So, which we're talking on the subject of divorce, you know, do you work with women or maybe men that are going through divorce, and to what extent do you work with them?
Well, actually, in my coaching, not so much.
Okay.
I do some relationship coaching, but not specifically divorce. So actually, I would like to, because I would really like to work with people before they get to the mediation stage.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, so that's kind of a challenge that I have in mediation, is that I want to say, you know, come, let's do some coaching, let's work on this, because so many times I can still see that there is love between the people, and they get, I don't know, you just get caught in this, on this kind of treadmill sort of thing, you know, and you just can't figure it out. And so, you know, I want to help people salvage their relationships. It's so important.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing, and I'm so glad that you could take time and talk to us and
That's
share
my
with
pleasure.
the audience.
Thank you so much.
So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to reach out to you?
Through my website at www.lightstudio5.com.
And that's the number 5, right?
Number 5.
Yeah. Perfect. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited that you got to share. And you know, if anybody has any comments you want to reach out to Valerie, you can leave a comment on the blog, and or you can reach out to her through her website.
Yes, absolutely.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you.